Keep boundaries strong. 1. Boundaries define respect. Respect doesn't just happen, it's shaped. And the truth is, every single day, people are learning how to treat you by what you allow. Boundaries are the lines that teach them. Without those lines, there's no map, no guide, no sense of where you end and they begin. That's why boundaries don't just protect you. They define respect. Think about this. If someone constantly shows up late to meet you, but you never say anything, you've just taught them that your time doesn't matter as much as theirs. If someone speaks to you harshly, but you let it slide again and again, you've taught them that their words don't carry consequences. The message is simple. What you allow is what will continue. Boundaries don't have to be aggressive. They don't need to be shouted, slammed down, or covered in armor. They just need to be clear. A calm, steady no, that doesn't work for me. A respectful, I can't stay late this time. A firm, please don't talk to me that way. Those are boundary lines, and the moment you draw them, you raise the standard for how people interact with you. But here's where people get it wrong. Boundaries aren't about controlling others. You can't force someone to respect you. What you can do is control access. You can decide who gets your time, who gets your attention, and who gets the best of your energy. Respect isn't about making others change. It's about making sure you stay aligned with your own worth. Here's an image for you. Imagine you own a house. Your house is your peace, your energy, your heart. Would you let just anyone walk in without knocking? Would you let strangers raid your fridge, make a mess in your living room, and never clean up? Of course not. You'd set rules. You'd decide who comes in when they come in and under what terms. That's exactly what boundaries are. They're the rules of entry into your life. When you don't set boundaries, resentment starts to grow. You might smile on the outside, but on the inside, you're frustrated, drained, maybe even angry. And resentment is a relationship killer. It poisons connection. But when you're clear with your boundaries, resentment has no place to hide. People know the line, and you know you've honored yourself. And here's the beautiful thing. When you set boundaries, the people who truly respect you won't be offended. They'll actually appreciate it. Because boundaries don't just define respect, they attract it. The people who get angry when you draw lines, they were benefiting from you having none. That's not respect. That's convenience. Boundaries also help you respect yourself. Sometimes we think respect is only external, what others give us, but real respect starts inside. It's you saying, I matter, my time matters, my feelings matter. Boundaries are how you prove that to yourself, not just others. So if you want stronger respect in your life, don't wait for people to give it to you. Don't wait for them to just know. Teach them, show them, draw the lines with clarity and kindness. You'll notice something incredible. The more you practice it, the more natural it feels. You won't feel guilt for saying no. You won't feel afraid of disappointing people. You'll feel strong. You'll feel steady. You'll feel respected because you respected yourself first. Respect isn't accidental. It's built, and boundaries are the foundation. 2. Boundaries protect energy. Energy is like currency. You only get so much of it every day, and once it's spent, it's gone. You don't have an endless supply to hand out to everyone who asks for it. And yet, so many of us live as though our energy is limitless. We say yes to everyone. We stay up too late, running on fumes. We give our best hours to things that don't give us anything back. And before we know it, we're exhausted. Not just physically, but mentally and emotionally too. That's why boundaries matter. Boundaries protect your energy. Think about your phone. You charge it every night because you know the battery won't last forever. You don't wait until it dies in your hand to start caring. You're proactive. You guard its charge because you know you'll need it tomorrow. But here's the question. Why don't we treat ourselves the same way? Why do we wait until we're burned out, drained, and worn down before we realize we needed boundaries all along? Boundaries are your charger. They refill your energy by keeping you from giving too much away in places that don't deserve it. When you say no to the wrong things, you make room to say yes to the right ones. That's not selfish. It's wise stewardship of your energy. Let me paint a picture. Imagine you're holding a pitcher of water, Every time someone needs something from you, you pour a little out, a favor for a coworker, a long venting session with a friend, staying up late scrolling because you don't want to say no to just one more episode. Slowly, your pitcher empties. But what happens when someone truly needs you? When your child needs your attention, or when your career demands your focus, or when you need to care for your own health? The pitcher is bone dry. You can't pour from nothing. That's what happens when boundaries are weak. You give away your water until you're left thirsty. Now let's flip it. When you build strong boundaries, you don't pour for everyone. You choose. You reserve energy for what truly matters. You protect it so that when life calls, you're ready. The pitcher stays full enough to handle what counts. The truth is, not every demand on your energy is equal. Some people drain you. Some tasks steal more than they give back. Boundaries are how you filter the difference. When you decline an invitation that doesn't serve you, you protect energy. When you mute a toxic group chat, you protect energy. When you walk away from arguments that go nowhere, you protect energy. Every single no to the wrong thing is a yes to your well-being. Here's something powerful to remember. Exhaustion isn't a badge of honor. So many of us brag about how busy we are, how little sleep we got, how much we're juggling. But being drained isn't a sign of strength. It's a warning sign. Boundaries are how you catch that warning before it's too late. And don't forget, energy isn't just physical. Emotional energy matters just as much. Carrying someone else's problems, letting people dump negativity on you, saying yes out of guilt. These all deplete your emotional battery. You're left tired in ways a nap can't fix. Boundaries are what protect that unseen side of your energy too. At first, protecting your energy feels uncomfortable. You might feel guilty for saying no. You might worry that people will be upset. But here's the reality. People who care about you won't want you drained. They'll respect your boundaries because they want you healthy and whole, and the ones who push back, they were more interested in what you gave them than in who you are. That's not love. That's not friendship. That's convenience. Protecting your energy means valuing yourself enough to say, I matter, my health matters, my peace matters. And the stronger your boundaries get, the more energy you'll notice returning to you. You'll wake up lighter, you'll have space to dream, to grow, to give, because you've guarded what was precious instead of handing it all away. So remember this, your energy is priceless, spend it wisely. Guard it with strength. Protect it with boundaries, because when your energy is strong, so are you. 3. Boundaries create clarity. Confusion is one of the biggest sources of conflict in life. Misunderstandings, unspoken expectations, mixed signals, these are the things that break relationships, create tension at work, and leave us frustrated with the people around us. But there's one thing that cuts through confusion every single time: boundaries. Boundaries create clarity. See, when you don't set boundaries, you leave people guessing. You hope they'll just get it. You hope they'll figure out what you like, what you need, and where your limits are. But here's the truth. People can't read your mind. Even if they could, that's not their job. It's your job to set the standard. Boundaries remove the guesswork. They take relationships out of the fog to the light. Think about how clear traffic signs are. A stop sign doesn't hint that you might want to slow down. It doesn't say, well, maybe stop if you feel like it. No, it's bold, it's obvious, it gives clear instruction so everyone knows what to do. Boundaries are like that. They signal to people how to approach you, where to stop, and where it's safe to go. Without them, chaos happens. Now, clarity doesn't mean cruelty. You don't have to be harsh to be clear. In fact, clarity is kindness. When you tell someone directly what you need, you save them the pain of guessing wrong. You remove hidden resentment. You avoid unnecessary conflict. A simple, I'm not available after 8 p.m. for work calls, is far kinder than saying nothing, than secretly resenting your boss for interrupting your evenings. Here's the thing, when boundaries aren't clear, you'll live in frustration. You'll feel like people keep crossing lines, when in reality, you never told them where the lines were. It's like blaming someone for parking in your yard when you never built a fence. Boundaries are your fence. They don't trap people inside. They show them where the yard ends. Clarity also builds trust. People trust you more when they know where you stand. Imagine having a friend who sometimes says yes, sometimes says no, but never explains why. You'd never know what to expect. But a friend who says, "I don't loan money," or "I need 2 days' notice before I commit to plans," that's someone you can trust. You may not always get the answer you want, but at least you know what to expect. That's security, that's clarity, and let's be real, not everyone will like your boundaries. Some people will push back, test them, or act offended, but remember this, their reaction is not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to be clear. Whether they accept it or not, you've done your part by making the line visible. The beauty of clarity is that it simplifies your life. You spend less time overthinking, less time replaying conversations in your head, less time wondering if you were too much or not enough. Boundaries give you a script. This is what I allow. This is what I don't. This is what I need. It's not guesswork, it's guidance. And clarity doesn't just help others. It helps you. Sometimes we get so tangled up in pleasing people that we forget what we actually want. Setting boundaries forces you to pause and ask yourself, what do I really need? What do I value? What matters most to me? That self-awareness creates internal clarity. Once you know it, you can communicate it. And once you communicate it, people can actually meet you there. So the next time you're tempted to keep quiet, remember this. Silence doesn't create peace. It creates confusion, and confusion always costs more in the long run. But when you set a clear boundary, you bring light into the dark corners of your relationships. You cut through tension. You build trust. Boundaries aren't walls, they're clarity. They're you saying, here's who I am, here's what I need, and here's how we can stay in a healthy relationship together. That's not selfish, that's respect, that's freedom. At the end of the day, strong relationships don't come from guessing games. They come from clarity, and boundaries are how you create it. 4. Boundaries are not selfish. One of the biggest lies people believe about boundaries is this: if I set them, I'm being selfish. That belief has held so many people hostage. They run themselves ragged, saying yes when they want to say no, overcommitting, overextending, over-delivering, all because they're terrified of being seen as selfish. But let me tell you the truth, boundaries are not selfish. They're healthy, they're necessary, and they're one of the clearest signs of respect you can give to yourself and to others. Think about an oxygen mask on a plane. Every safety instruction tells you to put on your own mask first before helping others. Why? Because if you're gasping for air, you're no good to the person next to you. Taking care of yourself isn't selfish. It's what allows you to care for others at all. Boundaries are the oxygen mask of your life. They help you breathe so you don't suffocate under the weight of everyone else's expectations. Let's clear something up. Selfishness is when you only think about yourself and disregard everyone else. Boundaries are the opposite. They're about balance. They say, I matter and so do you, but I won't sacrifice my well-being just to make you comfortable. That's not selfish. That's wisdom. When you live without boundaries, resentment builds. You show up tired, drained, and frustrated, but you keep saying yes anyway. Eventually, you don't give your best. You give your leftovers, and here's the irony. The very people you're trying so hard to please end up getting a weaker version of you. Boundaries make sure that when you show up whole. Another truth, people who love you won't see your boundaries as selfish. They'll see them as clarity. They'll respect you more for knowing your limits. The ones who accuse you of being selfish, they were benefiting from you having none. They were comfortable with you overgiving. Their disappointment isn't proof that you're selfish. It's proof that you've stopped letting them use you. Here's something powerful. Saying no doesn't make you unkind. Saying I can't right now doesn't make you rude. In fact, honesty is the kindest thing you can give someone, because when you say yes while secretly resenting it, you're not being loving, you're being dishonest. Boundaries replace fake smiles with real honesty, and let's talk about guilt, because that's what makes boundaries feel selfish. That knot in your stomach when you turn someone down, that fear that they'll be upset, that's not proof that you're wrong. It's just proof that you're learning a new skill. Guilt is a feeling, not a fact. Just because you feel guilty doesn't mean you are guilty. Boundaries take practice. The guilt fades, but the strength you gain lasts forever. Think about the relationships you admire most. They're not built on one person constantly sacrificing while the other takes. They're built on balance, mutual respect, and honesty. Boundaries create that balance. They keep love healthy instead of draining. They keep friendships strong instead of one-sided. They make sure you don't just survive relationships. You thrive in them. Here's the bottom line. Taking care of yourself is not selfish. It's stewardship. It's responsibility. It's saying, I respect myself enough to protect my peace, my time, and my energy, so I can be the best version of me, for me and for others. That's not a lack of love. That's what makes real love sustainable. So, the next time someone tells you you're being selfish, remember this. Choosing to protect your mental health is not selfish. Choosing to say no when you're overwhelmed is not selfish. Choosing to walk away from toxic behavior is not selfish. Those choices are acts of courage. They are acts of respect. They're acts of love, not just for you, but for everyone who gets to experience you at your best. At the end of the day, boundaries are not the enemy of love. They are the foundation of it, because without them, love turns into obligation, kindness turns into resentment, and giving turns into exhaustion. But with them, love becomes free, respect becomes mutual, and your life becomes healthier. Boundaries are not selfish, they're self-respect in action. 5. Boundaries strengthen relationships. Most people think boundaries push others away. They worry, if I say no, they'll leave. If I set limits, they'll think I don't care. If I speak up, I'll lose the relationship. But the truth is the opposite. Boundaries don't weaken relationships, they strengthen them. Here's why. Relationships without boundaries are built on assumptions. They're filled with unspoken expectations, hidden resentment, and quiet frustration. You say yes when you don't mean it. You tolerate behavior that bothers you but never talk about it. You keep swallowing your feelings because you're scared of rocking the boat. On the surface, things look calm, but underneath, the water is boiling. That's not connection, that's suppression. Boundaries change all of that. They bring honesty to the table. They create space for respect to grow. They replace hidden tension with clear communication. When you tell a friend, I can't talk right now, but I'll call you tomorrow, that's not rejection, that's respect. When you tell your partner, I need some alone time to recharge, that's not pulling away. That's honesty. Those conversations may feel uncomfortable at first, but they build trust. And trust is the backbone of every strong relationship. Think about it. Who do you trust more? Someone who always says yes even when they don't mean it, or someone who tells you the truth even when it's hard? We might think we want constant agreement, but deep down we crave honesty. Boundaries give that honesty. They let people know where we stand, and that reliability creates safety. Another way boundaries strengthen relationships is by preventing resentment. Resentment is like poison. It starts small. Maybe you're annoyed that your coworker keeps dumping work on you, but you don't say anything. Maybe you're frustrated that your family always expects you to host, but you never set limits. Over time, those little annoyances build. One day you explode, or worse, you shut down completely. The relationship suffers not because of the original problem, but because you didn't set boundaries early. Now flip it. When you set boundaries up front, you don't leave room for resentment. You stop frustration before it festers. You tell your coworker, I can't take on extra tasks today. You tell your family, I'll host once this season, but not every time. It's not always easy, but it's clear. And clarity keeps the relationship healthy. Boundaries also create balance. In strong relationships, both people give and both people receive. But without boundaries, One person often gives more while the other takes more. That imbalance drains the relationship. Boundaries reset the scales. They make sure both people's needs are seen, heard, and valued. And when there's balance, there's longevity. Here's something powerful. Boundaries don't just protect you from others, they also protect others from you. When you set your own limits, you model healthy behavior. You show your friends, family, and coworkers that it's okay to do the same. Instead of creating guilt or shame, you create freedom. You give them permission to protect their own peace. That kind of mutual respect is what keeps relationships strong for the long haul. And yes, some people may resist your boundaries at first. They may complain, push back, or even accuse you of changing. But the people who truly value you will adjust. They'll learn to meet you in a healthier way, and when they do, the relationship doesn't weaken, it deepens, because now it's built on respect, not convenience. Here's the reality. Relationships without boundaries aren't sustainable. They burn out, fall apart, or turn toxic. But relationships with boundaries, they grow stronger over time. They thrive in honesty. They're built on a foundation of trust, respect, and mutual care. So the next time you hesitate to set a boundary, remind yourself, this isn't about pushing people away. This is about drawing them closer, the right way. Boundaries are not walls, they're bridges. They connect people with truth. They invite respect. They protect love from resentment. At the end of the day, boundaries don't break relationships, they save them. They don't weaken love, they strengthen it. 6. Boundaries build inner peace. At the end of the day, everything we're chasing, success, relationships, money, recognition, it all comes down to one thing: peace. Peace of mind, peace in our hearts, peace in our daily lives. Without peace, nothing else feels good. You can have the dream job, the house, the friends, but if you're restless and overwhelmed inside, it won't matter. And that's why boundaries aren't just about managing others. They are about protecting your peace. Boundaries build inner peace. Think about what robs you of peace the most. Is it people constantly pulling on your time? Is it the guilt of saying yes when you wanted to say no? Is it carrying drama that doesn't belong to you? Most of the stress in our lives doesn't come from what we do. It comes from what we allow. Boundaries are the filter. They keep out the noise so your soul can rest. Here's the truth. Peace is not accidental. It doesn't just show up at your doorstep one day. It's built. It's created by the decisions you make every single day. And the biggest decision, who and what gets access to you. Boundaries are the locks on your doors. Not everyone gets a key. Not everyone deserves unlimited access. When you choose carefully, you create a life that feels safe, steady, and calm. Now let's get real. Life is full of things you can't control. People will be rude. Situations will get messy. Stress will come knocking. But you know what you can control, what you allow past the door. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. You don't have to solve everyone's problems. You don't have to carry weight that was never yours to carry. Boundaries let you drop what isn't yours and hold on to what is. And that creates peace. Peace isn't loud. It's not fireworks and applause. Peace is quiet evenings without your phone buzzing nonstop. Peace is walking away from a toxic conversation without guilt. Peace is saying no to something that drains you and yes to something that fills you. Boundaries give you that permission. They take you out of chaos and bring you back to calm. Here's the danger of living without boundaries. Your mind never rests. You're always overthinking, always replaying conversations, always worrying about what people think. That's mental clutter, and clutter kills peace. Boundaries declutter your life. They clear away the noise so you can finally hear yourself think. Another truth: peace isn't selfish. Protecting your peace doesn't mean you don't care about others. It means you care about yourself enough to show up better for them. When you're drained and resentful, you can't give real love. But when you're grounded in peace, your love is steady, not desperate. Your kindness is genuine, not forced. Your presence is whole, not fractured. Boundaries protect your peace so you can give your best self to the people who truly matter. And don't miss this: peace also brings confidence. When your boundaries are strong, you stop second guessing yourself. You don't live for everyone's approval. You don't say yes just to avoid conflict. You know who you are, what you allow, and where you stand. That kind of clarity makes your soul calm. That's inner strength. That's peace. Some people won't understand your boundaries. They may say you've changed. They may call you cold. But here's the secret. That's their discomfort, not your truth. The people who value your peace will respect it. The people who don't, they'll fade away. And honestly, that's part of peace too. Learning to release what doesn't belong. So ask yourself, what would your life look like if peace was your priority? What would it feel like to wake up without resentment, to walk into your day without dread, to come home at night without carrying everyone else's burdens? That's not a fantasy. That's what boundaries can build. At the end of the day, peace isn't found, it's made, and boundaries are how you make it. Every time you say no to what steals your calm and yes to what protects it, you're building a life of quiet strength. A life where your heart rests, a life where your mind breathes, a life of peace. Keep boundaries strong. We've talked about boundaries from every angle. How they define respect, protect your energy, create clarity, prove they're not selfish, strengthen relationships, and build inner peace. But here's the thread that connects it all. Boundaries are not barriers. They're not punishments. They're not about shutting people out. Boundaries are about letting the right things in and keeping the wrong things out. When you keep your boundaries strong, you protect the best parts of yourself. You stop giving your time and energy to people who don't value it. You stop drowning in guilt for saying no. You stop living in resentment, exhaustion, and confusion. Instead, you live with clarity, you live with respect, you live with peace. Strong boundaries don't make you hard, they make you whole. They don't weaken your relationships, they deepen them. They don't take love away, they protect it. So let this be your reminder. You are not here to be drained, used, or walked over. You are here to live with strength, dignity, and peace. Boundaries are the way you honor yourself, and when you honor yourself, you invite others to do the same. Keep your boundaries strong, not out of fear, not out of anger, but out of love. Love for yourself and love for the people who deserve the best version of you. Because at the end of the day, strong boundaries don't close your life off. They open it up to healthier love, deeper peace, and a stronger you.